Welcome to the Personal Pension Radio Podcast, where you get unconventional insights into wealth building and retirement that actually work. Discover data-driven strategies and learn from a wealth of experience so that you can take your retirement to the next level. Now, here's your host. He was once bitten by a harbor seal, the income engineer, Kraig Strom.
Okay, let's get rolling on today's episode. This is, of course, Kraig Strom, Personal Pension Radio. Glad you are here. If you're new to the show, this show is all about helping you complete your financial journey to retirement. It is a journey. It's one continuous journey up the mountain, save for retirement. But what's missing in the financial community is the conversation about down the mountain. What do you do when you get to the top of your retirement mountain and now you have to start taking income? America is now in a retirement income crisis without the help of qualified advisors. Retirees, people that we meet all the time in my practice that I have calling in, that we interact with all the time, are having a hard time dealing with the retirement income question. So Personal Pension Radio is all about bringing together experts and information that you need to build, protect your wealth, and create a lifestyle that you can look forward to in retirement. So before I jump into things, we are broadcasting live from Mr. Foley's van down by the river. Always on the move, keeping things interesting. And a quick disclosure up front, because I'm kind of amped up. I want to get right into the message for today that I had prepared. Quick disclosure, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a CPA. I am a certified financial planner professional. However, that does not mean that you should take and act on advice that you hear on a podcast or on the radio or on the television. If you hear a financial entertainer, that's what I call them, a financial entertainer on a podcast or on the radio, doling out advice after they ask somebody a question for 30 seconds, that's not good advice. That's advice that would actually get me in trouble. But that's beside the point. Please, meet with a qualified financial advisor before you act on any advice that you might hear on this show or any other show for that matter. You can go to personalpensionradio.com. We are here to help. You can just click that contact button, get right through to me. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook. It's Kraig with a K, Strom. So, now that we've gotten that taken care of, let's jump right into the first segment. This is a segment that I call Watch Your Step. Watch your step is just a phrase that I use to help you pay attention to things around you. Make sure you're not stepping in something or even missing something that's really important that may be in front of you. And one of the big things that happened recently is the announcement that 6 months from now, I'm recording this in November of 2015, but 6 months ahead, the government, the Social Security Administration, are making major changes to the Social Security filing options for spouses. So there's some big changes to the Social Security filing options. And for those of you who are out there listening saying, Social Security is not going to be there, Social Security is a farce, it's bankrupt, let me just say, Social Security is going to be there because, in my opinion, our kids and grandkids are going to have to pay the taxes to cover the Social Security. They're not going to get rid of it. Remember, people on Social Security, they vote, and they have time to go and cast their ballot. Okay, so politicians are not going to burn themselves with an electorate that actually is active at the voter booth. They are going to end up, in my opinion, taxing the rest of us to pay for those benefits. So, with that said, major changes to Social Security coming up. So if you are considering retirement coming up soon or within the next 5 to 10 years and you've never actually had your Social Security benefits analyzed, and I mean analyzed, there's so many different ways to take Social Security, the government's actually taking away and changing some of those benefits and making it perhaps even a bit more complicated. contact a good qualified financial advisor. Hey, someone like me, why not? Give us a call, give me a call, go to Personal Pension Radio. You can find all the information there. The last thing that I wanted to bring up in the Watch Your Step section, I normally put just one, maybe one or two, but this one I just couldn't resist. I was actually listening to a financial entertainer on the radio today. I just can't help it. I always like to hear what they're saying. You see, I'm pretty well regulated in the messaging that I'm able to put out, and these financial entertainers generally get to say whatever they like. So it's always interesting to hear what they're putting out on their messages, on their radio shows and such. So today it was a holiday budget advice. Holiday budget advice. So here's the advice that this financial entertainer offered up to one of their listeners. The question was, how do we make sure that we don't overspend on Christmas and such? So the advice was, make a list of all the people that you're going to give presents to and write down how much you're going to spend on those folks, or come up with a total budget is what the original piece was. So we're going to spend X amount of dollars on Christmas presents, and here's all the people we want to give presents to. How are we going to go ahead and divvy up that total amongst these people? So I was with it, as I was listening to this advice. That just made sense. That's good, basic, how to spend your money kind of advice. And then it came to the fun part. So now that you have your total and you have your list, the financial entertainer said, go to the bank and withdraw cash out of your bank account in the amount totaling what you were going to spend on all of your people on your Christmas list, and take cash to the mall. Take cash to the mall with you. Don't take your credit cards. Okay, hold on just a second. So think about that advice. I'd like you to make your big fat Christmas list. Now, it might be a $500 list. It might be $1,000. It could be more, could be less. But the advice from this person was, go take cash out of the bank and then take that cash with you in your car to the parking lot of a mall, into the mall, where there's all kinds of people who can see you with large amounts of cash as you pay for your purchases. How is that more secure than just paying with a credit card? I just couldn't believe it. That is just crazy to me. So this is just my opinion. But in today's day and age, if you're looking for protection first, which is what I teach to my clients, protection first, you don't take cash with you to the mall. You take the most secure thing that you might be able to pay for goods with, which is a credit card. Not a debit card tied to your bank account, but a credit card that is insulated and protected in case somebody steals your wallet or steals your purse. Okay? So the whole idea of taking cash to the mall, because it will force you to be more careful with your holiday budgeting. Well, I'm sorry. I think the audience to this show and people in general are a heck of a lot more mature, far more savvy, far better at managing their money if they put their minds to it than these financial entertainers lead us to believe. It's constantly baby this and baby that. Set your budget out ahead of time. Do your best to stick to your budget and be safe. Walking around with large sums of cash during the holidays may not be the most financially secure thing that you could do. So that, again, just my opinion, a little holiday budgeting advice from Personal Pension Radio. Now, onward to the one that I really wanted to get to here. And this is a caller question, and I call this question, to fee or not to fee. And it's regarding the differences between fee-only financial planners, fee-based financial planners, and commission-based financial advisors. Generally, commission-based folks are not in a financial planner role per se. So what I wanted to do is go through this and just go through what's the difference between a fee-only, a fee-based, and a commission-based advisor, and is one right or is the other right? I guess that's probably the way to look at it, or that's the question that was being asked of me. Okay, so what's the difference between them? So let me go through and just say that the first thing, if you look at a fee-only financial planner, you'll hear that quite a bit nowadays. The fee-only financial planner says that they only charge a fee. Okay, so this is how they usually describe it. We only charge fees. We don't get paid commissions. We don't take money for investment transactions. We only collect a fee, and generally that sentence is followed up with, and that makes sure that we don't have any biases towards any particular product. So let's look at it this way. A fee-only advisor generally will be paid in one of several ways. They'll charge oftentimes a flat fee where the only money that they make in a transaction with their client is the upfront fee and perhaps an annual retainer or an annual renewal fee for their services. Now, they might still manage and suggest investment services and life insurance services and other types of services, but the financial planner, who is fee only, that's what you get when you forget to silence your cell phone as you are recording a podcast episode. So where were we? So fee only financial planners can be paid a flat fee. They can be paid hourly. You can also have general retainer agreements that can be revised and updated. And there's also an assets under management platform or an assets under management method that a fee-only planner will charge, say, a certain percentage of someone's net worth or the invested assets that they're working with. Now, a commission-based advisor is someone that works, as you might imagine, on a commission basis, that they receive a commission for selling a product or service, whether it be plumbing, whether it be life insurance, or, did you know, dentists are often paid a commission based on a percentage of revenue that they generate for services rendered. Most people don't know that even in the medical profession, as a dentist, especially as a young, fresh out of school dentist, they're often paid a commission based on the work that they're doing. So here's the thing. Which one is right? Because I haven't even brought up the fee-based financial planner. I think it's important to stop and be clear that I don't think either one is right or wrong over the other. What's most important to recognize is that everyone has a bias of some kind or another, because a commission-based advisor might say, well, those fee-only financial planners, well, they're just going to charge high fees, and they're looking to do more and more plans so they can charge more and more fees, and a commission-based advisor, we don't have to do that. That they might say that. And then you get the fee-only financial advisor who says, wait a minute, I'm not biased. I don't have to sell a product to get paid, and that commission person, they're biased in one particular product because it pays them better, right? So the key there is that everybody has a bias. Everybody has a bias. And someone really explained it so well to me once, and they said this. They said, let me just tell you a story. This person who was speaking of bias said, let me tell you a story. He said, my father was a real estate agent. He said, my father was a real estate agent. Unfortunately, he was not a very good real estate agent. And this man went on to tell me that his family vacations were oftentimes road trips in their old station wagon the whole family packed in the station wagon, and they would drive places. They had fun, they had an enjoyable time, but it was kind of rough, in the hot summer, going out on camping trips and long road trips. They lived in a very modest house. They lived okay, but the real estate business was really tough for Dad. And the man stopped and said, "Do you think I have a bias against real estate? Do you think I'm not a big fan of real estate?" And of course I couldn't help but say, well, yeah, maybe. I mean, I guess real estate kind of made your dad, didn't give your dad a great deal of success, and that might have caused you to have a bias against real estate. And he says, yeah, you would think so, right? And he says, well, actually, the truth is that my dad was a real estate agent and a real estate investor, and he was extremely successful. He just did everything with real estate, just real estate, and he was very, very successful. We had an awesome childhood. We went on the best vacations. We lived in a beautiful house. We actually had several houses in different places around the country and even out of the country. And he stopped again and he said, "Do you think I actually have a bias in favor of real estate?" And of course, I smiled and said, well, yeah, I guess you probably do. And he says, "You're darn right I do. Real estate was really good to my family, and I have a bias." So the whole point to that is that everybody has a bias of one type or another. And if we bring that back around and we say, well, okay, if we have a fee-only financial advisor, where's the bias? Well, if they charge a flat fee, there's a monetary bias for a flat fee advisor to maybe rush through a plan so they can sell more plans. That could be a bias. If they charge an hourly rate, what if they charge an hourly rate? Well, could there be a bias where advisors charge for the time that they spend, and maybe they charge and end up spending more hours than might be necessary to develop a plan because they get paid by the hour? How about those who, again, are out there with an assets under management type platform? What kind of a bias might exist there? Well, they have a monetary incentive, perhaps, to be gathering assets, that the more assets they have, the bigger their paycheck, right? So there's biases there. Well, what about a commission-based advisor? So a commission-based advisor can be biased in favor of selling a product or a service based solely on which company offers the highest compensation. So an advisor who lives by the "what's in it for me" motto will seek out companies that offer higher commissions rather than finding the product or service that fits a customer's needs most appropriately. So there could be a bias there, right? Now, a fee-based financial planning model is a blend of these two, of a fee-only and a commission-based. So a fee-based advisor will generally charge an upfront fee for an initial engagement with a client, but they may also, with full disclosure, receive commissions on the placement of certain products and services. And that was really a key thing there. With proper disclosure, a fee-based advisor may receive commissions on products or services. So, how do you know which one is right? Okay, I submit to you this. You need to find an advisor that has a very specific bias. It's a very specific bias, and you have to meet with a financial advisor to figure out and to get to know that person to find out if they actually have this bias. You've got to ask a lot of questions, okay? But this bias is, make sure that it is in favor of the customer, right? That if you are working with a financial advisor who is biased in favor of you and your best interest, then I suppose it doesn't matter whether you're working with a commission-based, fee-based, a fee only. If the advisor is specifically biased towards what's best for you, then that could be a good fit for you. It really could be a good fit. So that's my take on the fee or not to fee debate. Personally, I choose to be a fee-based financial advisor. I see the fee-based model as a stronger place for me personally in my practice as it has evolved over the last 18 years or so, that it allows me to be flexible and have the ability to offer flexible planning options according to what might work best for the individual couple or client that I'm working with, rather than having just a fixed one-size-fits-all, whether it be commission-based or fee-only. Looking at it from the perspective of being flexible, the fee-based option allows me personally to have that flexibility. So that's a bit about the fee or not to fee topic I wanted to cover today, because the caller who had sent in the question was asking just that. So hopefully that'll help you as you're out there looking for information as far as who you might work with and what type of relationship that you might engage with a financial advisor. Remember, we all have biases of one kind or another. Find a financial advisor who has a bias in favor of helping you personally get up your financial mountain. You've got to get to the top of the mountain, but you need a financial advisor who can help you get back down with the best possible lifestyle and income that you can have. That's the key. So I'm going to wrap up on this episode today. Thank you again to everybody who's listening around the country, those of you in Florida, Indiana. We've got folks all the way up to Maine, to California, Seattle. Welcome to folks in Texas. Thank you so much for listening, and those of you around the world who are catching the podcast as well. I look forward to actually bumping into some of you some days in our travels around this great country and travels around the world over the years ahead. If you have questions, please go to personalpensionradio.com and you can contact us there. Until next time, make sure you're looking for that financial advisor who's biased in favor of your best interest. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Personal Pension Radio Podcast. If you missed anything during the show, that's okay. We took the notes for you. Check the show notes for links, offers, and a full transcript. And don't forget to head over to personalpensionradio.com and download your free retirement income report. While you're there, we'd appreciate some iTunes love. Please leave us a fantastic rating on iTunes by going to personalpensionradio.com/iTunes. Thanks again for listening.